It is 3 o'clock. So should we start the session, sir?
So just allow me 2 minutes.
No issue,
I'm so
no issue.
sorry I missed on the time, but I thought
No, no, no.
it's 2:30 in India.
I can understand that as you are sitting in London. So these
So especially there's a
time.
time zone change in the last month itself. So it used to be
Yes,
5.5 hour gap. Now it is 4.5 hours. So that sometimes creates confusion. And
no
unfortunately,
issue,
today got to be one of the day.
no issue, no issue.
Just a second. Do I have the rights to share the screen?
Yeah, you can.
Recording in progress.
This session is, sir, recorded also, and on the same, it is being live streamed on YouTube also.
Okay, all right. That's great. Just a second. So do we have the presentation in front of the screen now?
Yeah, you can.
All right.
Yes, it has started.
And so I'm just
Name
gonna
is
check
Stephen.
as I'm moving the slides, then
Yeah.
it is changing. It's not
Sure,
just the
sure.
still screen which is in front. Just allow
Yeah.
me a second.
Yeah, it is moving, sir.
Great. Just a second. Yes, all right. I'm so sorry. Good afternoon,
No issue.
everyone. My
Should we
name.
start the session, sir? First of
Yes,
all,
sir. Yes,
let
yes,
me
please,
introduce
please.
you at the place of giving. You are giving your introduction. Give us
All
this
right, sir.
privilege.
Please, please. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, a great afternoon to our today's master, Mr. Anubhav Sethi, and my dear students. Today we are going to have our master class on your path to financial mastery with the topic demystifying derivatives, understanding the world of derivatives, which is a new buzzword of financial market if I talk about, which will be delivered by a seasoned professional, Mr. Anubhav Sethi, managing partner, Brightstar LLP. Don't go by his cute face, I would say. No, Mr. Anubhav Sethi is a very seasoned professional who started. I would say this can be dream of anybody who has started his entrepreneurship venture at the age of 16 only, when people are studying in their 11th or 12th class, after passing out his 10th class only. For a brief stint, he joined his business, his father, who was into financial markets. At the time when he passed out 10th, he was dreaming of joining a BTech, that I will be pursuing BTech after plus two. But that 2 months time, that changed his mind, changed his inclination, and he came into financial markets at the age of 16 only. He did his uh, plus two in commerce and then graduation also in commerce. Alongside, his journey was going on, and not on a small pace, on a great pace. He is a CMT qualified professional and has founded several companies, including Brightstar Research, Alpha X Analytics, previously known as Alpha 6 Capital, and co-founded Quantus Technology Private Limited. Currently, he is working on his latest project, Alpha X Academy, which aims to educate the youth about financial markets and provide them with a platform to start their careers in this domain. You would have heard the name of the algo trading. He is one of the person who is teaching the people what this algo trading is. One more quality while interacting with sir, I came to know he is so enthusiastic about the learning. Even in this age, even on the pinnacle of the, I would say, his career, he still wants to learn more things. We were discussing about, we both were discussing that what new can be done, what new things can be learned. We were discussing about the few courses from the IIT Madras or IIT Delhi also. So that shows his eagerness to learn new things and how he can be, I would say, he would be, along with his teammates, he will be doing good. So that is his desire to learn. And today's day, it is we are very very lucky, Anubhav sir, to have you on the board for our distance and online students. It is great privilege for us to have you here among us, sir.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
And
Thank you. Thank
not
you.
taking much of the time between you and the students. Now I hand over the baton to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Ajay, for the wonderful introduction. And I'm really humble and privileged to have this opportunity to address your students and then you being the part of it. So thank you very much once again. Um, I've been told that the audience is basically a mix, somebody already through with and already aware of derivatives, most of them being new. So I'll just walk you through what we're going to do today. Um, these terms, these things, I believe if you are finance students or if you have read anything on markets, you would be very much aware of. But today I'll try to bring in analogies from real life and try to make you understand things in a better way. That's what my effort is going to be. So I'm going to keep the things very basic, very simple, considering that most of the students might be not aware or not be familiar with the practical derivatives world or all that. But in the end, when I'm going to open up the questions for everybody, you are free to ask me anything, and I'll be more than happy to address and answer in to best of my capability. So even if the topic is not covered in this small presentation, you can go ahead and ask the things in case you are already more experienced or do have the exposure of derivatives or the products in a better way. So to start with, what we're going to cover in throughout the presentation is about the products. I mean, we are going to basically touch the why, what, and when of the game, right? Why the derivatives came into play, what exactly are these, how we use them. That's what we'll try to understand through this 1.5 hours presentation. So initially now, for each topic, I'll try to do one thing before talking about the terms and the terminology in the market fashion. I will try to talk about these things from real life examples. Okay. Now, essentially, what are derivatives? Derivatives are basically whose values are derived of something. You can say the shirt which anybody I am wearing or anybody wears, right, is basically a derivative of the threads which is made a bit of, right? Or we can say curd is a derivative of milk. Now, when we say curd is a derivative of milk, it means if the quality of the milk is bad, then the curd will get the same kind of texture or the same kind of a thing, right? In similar fashion, let's say we're talking about a table which is manufactured by a certain amount of wood. I take a good quality wood, it will result into a better kind of a product. I choose a lower quality of a wood, it will lead to a bad quality of wood. Now, how am I connecting this to derivatives? Is simply that derivatives are products which are basically derived or totally based on something, right? Whose value is based out of something. For example, when we're talking about financial derivatives, now the difference between this financial derivatives and the real life examples which I'm giving is simply that these products are tradable. You can buy and you can sell these things. We cannot do the same thing in the, just for the clarity, just for the understanding. So in financial world, derivatives are the contracts whose values is derived of something. That something is called underlying. It could be an equity, could be a commodity, could be an index or something. The basic origination of derivative was basically to cover and to provide the hedge against the risk. We'll touch this topic a bit in detail a bit later, and then you'll be able to get this thing clear in your head, that why the derivatives start getting started to use, right? So the type of derivatives basically which we're going to talk about are future contracts, we're going to talk about options, we're going to talk about forwards, right? And what these are used for is something we're going to touch in the following slides. So now, starting with future, it's an agreement to buy and sell an asset, right, at a pre-agreed price. Now, if I have to compare this future contract, it's like anybody and everybody when makes a trade in or buys a property, he essentially gets into a forward contract. The difference between forward and future is essentially only this, that the future contracts are exchange traded, they are more structured, more organized, whereas forward are one-on-one person, right? So let's say if I sit on the table with somebody and I want to buy a property, how essentially that deal goes is that we make the arrangement that we're going to buy this property at this and this price, right? We make the initial payment, let's say token money, which we give when buyer and seller agrees that okay, we're going to exchange hands on this property on a later date. That's what a future or a forward contract is. Over here in markets, we make the same kind of contract on stocks. So for example, there is this stock, let's say Reliance, right? I want to buy Reliance, but my purpose of buying Reliance is only to play the market movement, only to trade the price and not to hold the price. So the difference between when you buy an equity or buy a future, right, is simply this: when you're buying an equity, you're taking the ownership of that stock. You are becoming a shareholder of that stock. Wherein when you're buying a future, you're just playing on the price, you're just trading on the price, and you're not involved in getting the shareholding of that particular stock. Okay, so when you go into a future contract of Reliance, you'll pay the token money, which we call as margin money, and then essentially you block that price, just like in property we block a price. So I'm again getting back to that example. Let's say it's a plot worth 1 crore, right? And I say that I want to buy this plot. What I'll be doing is, when the arrangement is done, we pay a token money, we agree on the price, and then we ask that okay, this and this date in future we're gonna come and we're gonna exchange the papers and we're gonna get the registry in my name. Yes. Now the thing is, if in those 3 months the price of that plot, let's say, goes from 1 crore to 2 crores or 2.5 crores, the gain is of the person who has already bought it, right? And the person who has sold it, he might be in a notional loss. I mean, I won't say he will be in a loss because he might have bought it at 10 lakh rupees and sold at 1 crore rupees. But then he has sold at 1 crore price. Now, if the price goes from 1 crore to 3 crore, he doesn't gain anything on that part. The person who has bought this future contract is the one who will buy on who will gain on this contract. So just like as I gave an example in property, if we see in markets, we do have these agreements continuously going on the markets throughout, right? So that's what future defines. It's basically to buy or sell asset at a future date price on a pre-agreed price on the date we are dealing it. Forward contracts are another form of derivatives, right? Now, these forward contracts are similar to futures, but the only difference is that they are done over the counter. Like property is an example of forward contract. Now, let me just get into the history or where these future contract or the forward contracts exactly came into play and what was the reason for that, right? Essentially, let us say there's one uh, farmer, let's say, right, or somebody who's producing one stuff. Okay, now he says that his ideology is simple, that I'm going to put in 3 months of my time, I'm going to put up 15-20 rupees per kg in producing this one thing, and the anticipation is that current market price and at this moment of time I will be able to sell it at 40 rupees or 50 rupees, right? So he's putting up 3 months of time. He's putting up the investment of, let's say, 15-20 rupees in lieu of making the gain of 30 rupees over the head. Yes. But now, let's say if after 3 months, the prices of that particular commodity comes down, right? It is essentially an instrument which whose price are fluctuating. Just to understand the concept, let's say it comes down. Where does that farmer ends up? He has spent 3 months, he has put in all his hard work, right? And he has spent this 15 rupees. And what if after 3 months it gets sold only at 22 or 24 rupees, or worse, it gets priced at 10 rupees? He has this risk, not only the risk of the capital he puts in, also the risk of time and energy he has put in. So for that reason, now imagine the same farmer going to a cold storage or going to a end retailer or end user of that particular product and makes an agreement that the product of this price today in the market is out 40 rupees, right? I'm gonna give you and I'm gonna deliver you this after 3 months at 40 rupees. Now this guy, he has blocked this price. Now he doesn't have any fear of price moving up and down. This was the origin idea of future. This was the origin idea of developing this kind of contract wherein the person who's producing this product, right, he already has a buyer in hand after 3 months at the current price or at the price which they have pre-agreed upon. All right. uh Ajay sir, just a second. I'm sorry, Mr. Ajay.
Yes, sir.
Can I can I have the structure? I'm not able to just to make it clear that if the audience is with me, can I have the structure? If they
Audience
want
can
to ask
interact.
anything, they can
Yes,
stop
yes, sir.
in between only me.
Obviously, sir. Let me inform you that audience can interact with you through a chat. You see a chat counter is ticking in on your screen.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So
Yes, sir.
I'll try to keep this session very interactive so that after each topic, if there is anything you want me to stop or you want me to explain a bit more, I'll do that.
Definitely.
And I will request you all to just keep on dropping the messages so that the session is interactive and I'm able to see that okay, I'm good to go ahead or not. All right. Okay. Thank you. So coming back now. So as we were taking the example of the origination of these future and forwards, if I have to give an example of a life, then think of it this way. Let's say in the older days when there were ages when there were these warriors who used to fight with swords and these shields and all that, right? Imagine these warriors going in the war only with the swords, right? They had only one thing to attack. Now they figure out that they get back attacked back as well, right? This the opponent also attacks. Now they would require a shield, right? That's where the shield was invented. That okay, if you want to attack, you use this sword. You want to protect yourself, you use this shield. Okay. Now derivatives or these futures can be considered it as a shield. This was the basic origination or the basic idea of origination of these derivatives, right? So when the person is coming into investment world or any person coming in the market to invest, they essentially used to go to the equities. They used to buy stocks. Now let's say there's a time of uncertainty, like today we have elections coming next month, right? Or let's say there is a budget, or let's say there's a result or a board meeting of a particular stock, or a investor is not confident for the short term period of that stock, that what's going to do or what's not going to do, right? Essentially they used to use this future to hedge the risk, because if I say I'm long on equity and I sell the future, and that's I get into an agreement with somebody else who will agree to buy at a particular price, then during that event, during that time expiry, during that month period or 2 months period, for whatever period I've done the contract for, right, whether the price goes up or goes down, it doesn't affect me. I still hold the ownership because equity is what gives me the ownership. In case there is any dividend, in case there is any kind of corporate action, I'm still entitled to all the benefits. But then what I get saved from is the price fluctuation. So if the price goes further up from there, I don't make money. That's correct. But then I lose if the price goes down. And that's what the purpose of the shield is. So when the warrior raises the shield, it is not to attack initially, it is to protect from the attack. Correct? You guys with me over here? Right. So similarly, futures or derivatives were initially designed for this protection, that you hold the equities, you want to protect yourself, you can use these futures or you can use these forward contract. Like we did an example of the farmer now. Farmer's purpose is to produce and then to sell. He has calculated the profit of the production which he is doing at the rate of that. Okay, he's going to spend 15 rupees in the the raw material or the seeds he's going to buy. He's going to put up hard work, months of time and energy, and then at the end he will get 45 rupees, and his only profit center was these 30 rupees, that he's going to spend 15 rupees, going to get 45 rupees out of it, right? He doesn't care about whether this price goes to 60 or 35. That was never his intention to make money from. His intention of making money from was the price which was there, right? So he will get into forward contract to protect this price, to capture, to block this price. Okay. All right. So that's what the forward contract is. If I have to summarize right now and close this future and forward discussion, the only difference between forward and future is forwards are done one on one. They are over the counter products, right? Whereas futures are done on the exchange. There is an exchange which becomes the counterparty to it. Okay. And this very difference brings in many further risk or many further differences between these two. For example, let's say if I am dealing with this one person only, Naresh, right? And we are making a deal on a particular office space. Okay. If I'm selling office space to him, and he's buying the office space, he can come up with certain requirements, right? That I want a cabin over here, I want a let's say Teams meeting room over here, or I want a trading desk or a ABC customer desk over here, and all that stuff, right? Now that specification is only of Naresh. Okay, I get the things done and I want to sell it to Naresh, and I've customized it according to Naresh now. In case Naresh backs out and I have made the changes and I want to sell the same thing to Ashutosh now, Ashutosh might come up with all different requirements, right? Ashutosh might have some different structure, that I don't want a meeting hall because we don't have any clients coming in. I want more of I'm in a more of a call center business. I need more people having the trading desk or the the client desk, the what do we call that? The staff desk to execution desk, right? So how it is compared in forward contracts? Forward contracts, two people are making the deal according to their convenience. The cold storage guy could say to the farmer that I want it after 3 months, and on 25th, I want, let's say, this much amount of product, and in each box, it should be 1 kg of this product or 2 kgs of this product. If that cold storage guy backs out, and I want to do the same thing with some other guy or the other cold storage, he might come up with some different requirements. He might say, no, I do not have the cycle of 3 months. I have to deliver it in 2 months. If you can give it in 2 months, then good and well and good. Otherwise, I don't want it anymore. Right. So this is what forward being customized in nature brings in the risk, that they are not tradable easily. If the two parties are there, they are designed because of their convenience. Right. What happens in future contract is exchange comes in between, or you just put it up this way, that some middleman comes in between. He creates the product in a structured way. He says that anybody who wants to buy is like, taking back to the example of office, I am selling a raw office, I'm selling a plain office, I've not done anything. Now that raw office is okay with everybody, provided they are looking for the same size, right? If they're looking for 1,000 square feet and it's a raw office, somebody wants to put up a meeting cabin over there, they can do that. Somebody wants to have a full floor on the execution desk, they can do that. In whatsoever way they want to do it, they can alter and they can change the things, right? So future contract में what exchange does is, just a second, suppose I buy a call option. Ravi has put up a question. Ravi, stop here. We have not touched options. I'll answer all your questions, but let me just go through the sequence which I am doing. Let me just explain options. I'm not coming to the options yet. So yes, what exchange does in future contract is they standardize the product. Now, standardize means anybody who wants to buy Reliance Future has to buy a 250 lot. You cannot say that give me 150 shares of Reliance in a future contract, right? It has to be 250 for everybody. Anybody who comes into a future contract they say that we're going to deal in the end of the month expiry. That's what the expiries are. Every last month, Thursday is the expiry day. So nobody can come and say, I want Reliance on Wednesday of last month, on third week in the month, right? It's a standardized structure. There is no alteration. A product is given and you have to buy in the similar fashion, in the similar way. Okay. So now what this does is it creates the same product equivalent to everybody. Everybody is looking and coming for the same thing, and that's how it addresses one of the major risks, which we'll again read later, and that is the counterparty risk. Counterparty risk is if the person backs out, how easily I can at least secure my money by selling it to somebody else, right? So in forward contract, if a person backs out, I find it difficult now to sell it to somebody else if the person is not having the similar kind of requirements. Okay. You with me till here? Great. Done. Third of these derivative contract options is in itself is a very wide topic. I'm just gonna give a brief over here and then I'll touch the definition a bit later on, right? But then option contracts are special kind of derivative contracts which gives the buyer a right but not the obligation to buy or to sell an asset. Buy in case of call options, sell in case of put option. Now let us understand what it says. In general, write on the messages. What do you understand from option? Forget markets, forget stock market. What is an option? What do you mean by option? English word option. What do you mean by that? Choice. Perfect. Very right, Abhishek. Yes, we have choice. Right to choose. Correct. Correct. You guys bang on. Right on track. Option means choice. Second question. Who in this world have a choice? Kajal has said we all. Sunil said everyone. Everybody's saying everyone. Now let me just rephrase the question. If I ask you, do you have a choice to buy a plane today or uh, I'm coming. Everybody is saying that everyone has the choice. Let me ask you a question and add a flavor to it. Do any one of us has a choice to buy a plane, a private jet or a plane today? Kajal, do we have the, no, correct, correct. Somebody said everyone who got the resources. Sunil, this is it. This is now what completes the choice. You have a choice limited to the resources you have, right? If I got, let's say, 10 lakh rupees, I can choose between buying a car which comes in the range of 10 lakh rupees, correct? If I have 50 lakh rupees, I can choose between the wider choice of buying a 15 lakh car, 30 lakh car, 40 lakh car, or 50 lakh car, right? Now we have understood two things. One, option means choice. Two, the person who has money, he is the one who has choice, correct? And the person who has money is the one who spends money to create this choice. Okay. Now, coming back to the definition, these are the contracts which gives the holder or the buyer the right, but not the obligation. Okay. That is, the person who's ready to put up the money, he will create a choice or she will create a choice by putting up that money. Okay. I'll give you one example now. Think of this one particular story. Okay. Imagine you are looking for one this particular watch, which is a very special model, and you're not able to get it anywhere. Okay. And one fine day, you are at your friend's place. You're probably coming back to your own house, and then you see this watch shop, and then you see the same watch which you have been looking for the past 1.5 year. Okay. You ask the shopkeeper what is the price for that watch. The person on the other side says that it's 10,000 rupees. You do not have 10,000 right now. You got, let's say, just 2,000 rupees in your pocket. Okay. And neither your friend has the money enough right now to pay him upfront and, buy that product by paying 10,000 rupees. Now you ask that guy, you ask that shopkeeper that, all right, I'm giving you this 2,000 rupees. right? And I'll come tomorrow and I'll buy this watch for 10,000 rupees. Okay. Do you think that shopkeeper has any incentive, or would he hold it for a day if after you have gone, the very next minute somebody else comes and he pays 10,000 upfront? My question is, should the shopkeeper hold that watch for you if after you have gone, in a very next minute, in a very next second, somebody else comes and say, here's the 10,000 rupees, give me that watch? Correct. Everybody is right saying no, because he has no incentive to hold it. If you're getting money after a day and the same amount of money, right, you're getting the very next minute, nobody would be holding that amount of money. Okay. Now I'm just changing one statement. You say you hold this 2,000 rupees, you keep these 2,000 rupees. I'll come tomorrow, I'll pay you 10,000 more and I'll buy this watch. But do not sell this watch for a day. You wait for me for a day, and it is for this reason I'm paying you 2,000 extra. Will he hold it now? Now, this is exactly what an option is. In option, there are two things which are happening. Number one, you are talking about the product. You are buying and selling the product. Number two is you are buying and selling that choice. The person who pays money, he creates a choice for himself. The first part of money, which we call as premium, is the money which he has paid only to create that choice. The remaining part, he comes and he pays in full amount to get that underline or to get that watch. Yes, unless he would be offered anything more, right? So nobody, and on the other side, the person who's selling it, the person who is taking the obligation, what fun he would have to take the obligation until unless he has paid extra, he's been paid extra. If I can sell something and get 10,000 right now, why would I hold it for 10 days or 5 days, right? Now, this is what the option contract is all about. In option, you're actually, at first, you are dealing with the choice, you're buying and selling the right, and later on you're deciding whether you're going to buy or sell. I'm going to go back to the example of that farmer who went to cold storage to explain again another aspect of the option, which is the put option. What we discussed right now is a call option. We created the right to buy, we paid 2,000 rupees, we created the right, we created the choice to buy that watch within a day, right? If I continue this particular example, now imagine the moment you reached home, you got a call from local shopkeeper whom you have already made a request to buy that watch, and he says that, all right sir, you asked for this watch, we have this watch now. Now, do you have any incentive of going back, let's say 25-30 kilometers away, to that shopkeeper to buy that watch for the same price? The money which you have paid initially for the guarantee or for holding, that's already gone, you cannot take it back. That 2,000 pesos is gone. But then now, if the local shopkeeper is providing at the same price, right, you won't go there. If the local shopkeeper says the price is not 10,000, I'll sell it for 11,000, then you still have 1,000 rupees to save, because that initial 2,000 is gone anyhow. If you go 25 kilometers away to a friend's shopkeeper, you will end up spending 10,000 more. If you go to the local shopkeeper, you will end up spending 11,000, right? But if you're getting the same price or the lower price, you will say that 2,000 is gone now. Okay. And now the person, that shopkeeper who sold you this watch, who took 2,000 rupees extra, do you think he has any right to give you a call and say that I held the watch for you for a day and you're not coming to pick it up? You have paid 2,000 extra. Sunil, you have said yes, but I asked him, I gave him 2,000 only to hold. Why would he call me? I have already paid for that thing. I have not taken any favor from him. I have paid 2,000 rupees. That 2,000 rupees is only, Sarthak, you are in future contract. Stay in the moment. We're talking about options right now. Hold it over there. Even if it doesn't have the customer, then he has no right to claim on me. Na? He cannot call me that you paid me 2,000 and you said you will come back and pay 10,000 extra, right? He's not doing any favor to hold that watch for a day. If he calls me and if he says yet you're not coming, I'll say yes, I've already paid you for 2,000. You can keep that 2,000. That's why I said that I'm giving you 2,000 to hold it for a day. All with me till here? One is I ask a favor. I say I'm gonna come tomorrow and pay the remaining. Then he can call. But I didn't take any favor. I paid him 2,000 to hold it for a day. One day is gone. I don't want to buy it now. All right, perfect example. How many of you experience this thing that you go and buy a car in the market, right, which is very heavily in demand, or maybe a two-wheeler in the market, which is very heavy in the demand, right? And because of that demand, the people are taking premium bookings over the price of that scooter, over the price of that car to hold it for you guys. Advance book. One is you pay part of the payment, which is future contract, which happens in the case of property. Another is, let's say this new Kia model car comes, and then it's crazy in terms of demand. And then the showroom guys are saying that there is a 8 months waiting. You pay 25,000 extra for the advance booking, which is like premium charges we are doing, and we will make sure that the first 10 which comes is gonna be allotted to you. So you pay this extra amount, right? This is not part of the total car payment. This is the overhead. This is the overhead which you pay. Okay. Now, when you pay this, let's say 3 months have gone and you have managed to find, or another car was there in play, and then you have decided to go with that. That showroom guy cannot come and force you that buy. Yes, this is the premium amount. That showroom guy cannot come and force you. Correct. Luxury of priority, which we create by paying cash, which we created for ourselves to pay cash. Now connect to the first line of mine, right? Option is a choice. Choice is somebody who throws the money, who puts the money on the table. Once he puts the money for the table, he has paid to create that choice. The other person cannot come and ask him why you're not doing it. However, the seller has an obligation. What does this mean? If the car comes and I have paid, like if I go tomorrow to the shopkeeper whom I have given the 2,000 rupees is the initial deposit, right? He cannot say I have sold it because he took 2,000 rupees for holding that. In real life, it might happen, but then ethically it should not be. In exchange, it cannot be, right? If the 2,000 rupees were paid only to hold that watch, if 25,000 premium was paid only to hold that first car for me, they cannot sell it to anybody. He is bound. He is obligated because he took money. So now understand it in this way. Options have two things. One, wherein this right is being bought and sold. The person who buys the right creates the choice. The person who sells the right creates an obligation. Second, the product is being bought and sold. We have done the example of two examples, in fact, of buying the product, which is the call option. Now I'm gonna relate it to the market, and then probably you'll have a better understanding. Now, when we say we are gonna buy XYZ call of a stock, it means we are buying that stock at that price and we are paying premium for doing that. So if say I'm buying 22,000 call of Nifty, I am buying Nifty. If you, I'm making a deal to buy Nifty at particular price by paying the premium of XYZ. By paying the premium, I create the right for myself. No, eventually you buy it at the actual price. The option pricing comes to the actual price itself. You pay only the premium part, but then you enjoy the right of that full underlying price only. So if Nifty, let's say, or a stock, or in our examples, let's say this watch price goes from 10,000 to 15,000, the seller cannot say, give me 15,000 now. He held the 2,000 rupees for a day at a fixed price. We block the price, we block the number of days to be held. So buyer have the option to buy, seller has the obligation to sell. Let me just do one example of a seller as well so that you have a better understanding. Get back to that farmer, the farmer who was selling the forward contract, the farmer who was uh, going to a cold storage and fixing the price. I'm gonna sell it. Now imagine that farmer says that okay, or he's an intelligent one and he understands that there's a huge demand for this onions, let's say, or this potatoes which I'm producing, right? And then in 3 months the demand may further shoot up and the price may go from 45 rupees kg to 60 or 70 rupees a kg, right? So he makes a smart move. He goes to a cold storage, right? And he says that I want to sell these potatoes after 3 months. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay you 5 rupees today. I am going to pay you 5 rupees today so that you give me the guarantee. You give me the right that after 3 months, I'll come and sell it at 45 rupees to you. You with me till here? At first, I am paying 5 rupees per kg and just taking the commitment from that cold storage guy that after 3 months, I'll come, I'll sell this XYZ quantity of onions or potatoes at 45 rupees kg. And the cold storage guys take this 5 rupees and says, all right, done. Why he is doing it's altogether different matter. Might be he supplies the potatoes to some chips making company and all that. He had a pre-order and all that stuff, right? But then he has taken 5 rupees and agreed that all right, you sell it to me, I'll buy it at 45 rupees. Now, if the price after 3 months is essentially 60 rupees kg, farmer won't go to that cold storage guy. He would go to some other one and say that I'm going to sell it at 60 rupees. Those 5 rupees gone? Yes. But then those 5 rupees I paid to create a choice for me and a security for me that at 45 and anyhow I have sold it. If the price is higher in the market, I'll sell at the higher price because I have the choice for doing that. Have you understood the concept of option and obligation? Have you understood the concept of right and obligation? Not purchase, to sell. Premium was given 5 rupees to sell, I'm saying. We're talking put option now. See, I'll just make one admission. This concept or the options in a whole to understand fully is takes a bit time, right? It's a very huge concept. The idea is to give you a bit more clarity by taking real life examples so that you can relate to it. You have a better understanding when you read it in a book next time. Okay, so I understand that it might not be clear to everybody in spite of all my efforts, but then yes, even if you understand the concept of right and obligation and why right is given and why obligation is created, then you are at least half of the game done. Okay, so earlier case we said somebody got confused between buying the product or selling the product. I'm just making that clear, the point clear for them. Earlier the farmer was going to buy the product, right, to sell the product, and now he's doing something else. Earlier he did it to sell it at a fixed price, that was a future contract. Now he went to create a provision for himself to sell it. If the price is lower, he can sell to the cold storage. Correct, Sanjeet. Right. After 3 months, if the price in the market is at a higher price than what he has agreed with the cold storage guy, then he will sell in the market. But if the price is lower, then he has already had the insurance or he has already have the provision to sell it at 45 rupees. So again, I'm repeating. In first case, in the future, the difference between future and option. Future is you agree the price, you block the price, right? Now, if there is any price fluctuation, you won't make any benefit out of it. You won't lose anything. In options, you create the provision. How do you create the provision? By paying money. By paying money, you can create the provision to buy a thing, or you can pay money to create the provision to sell a thing. When we did the example of watch, we created the provision to buy the watch. When we are taking the example of this farmer, he's creating the provision to sell his stuff, right? And to create the provision, he'll have to put up some money. Yes? We'll again talk a lot about it, and when I open up the question, then I'll try to make things more clear on this thing, right? I'm just recapping and reviewing few things now. Number one, what are derivatives? Derivatives are products whose value is derived. Now, since the value is derived, it means they have to be in line with the underlying. As we did the example of this, thread and shirt, or we did the example of table and the raw material. Raw material bad, table will be bad. In markets, index, the Reliance goes up, Reliance future goes up. Reliance goes down, Reliance future goes down, right? In options, we have call and put, right? Call is the derivative to buy the underlying, create the right to buy. Put is the derivative wherein we have it's a contract wherein we have the right to sell the underlying. The prices of the call and put are again linked with the underlying. That's why they're called derivatives. Their value is also derived from the underlying. Okay. The purpose of the derivatives is basically this. We're going to come and touch now. But then initially, as we understood, ideally the derivatives were created as a hedging instrument. If you have the equity, you don't want to sell the equity, you want to protect yourself from the price, then you get into a derivatives contract. Okay. So his slight differences between future and option, which you just touched, I'm going to review it. In future and option, the first difference is between the right obligation, whereas the commitment. In futures, both the parties have the commitment. Like in property, when you buy and sell property, both guys are obligated. So once we, as we call that bayana, right? The initial transaction when it's done, when let's say 10% or 20% of the payment is made, and on paper it is agreed that I'll sell it to you at 3 crore rupees or 1 crore rupees after a month or so, right? This is a contract wherein two parties are getting into an agreement, paying, yes, margin money. You're paying small part of the money, right? And you're making a deal that after 3 months I'll pay the remaining money and then I'll get the property transferred to me. In market, future contract is a contract in which the buyer and seller gets into an agreement to buy a particular underlying, or to sell, the other person is selling at a fixed price on a future date. We also sell the call. Sarthak, I'm going to comment on a later point. I'll come to that. Second difference is symmetrical and symmetrical payoff. So this is one thing which makes options very interesting. Once we do in depth of options, you will understand. But then symmetrical and asymmetrical means when I have a call option, right, as we did in the definition, if I don't go to that shopkeeper to buy the watch, I'll just lose 2,000 rupees, right? Now, I'm bringing you to the market because the price fluctuation in the real time commodities is not as much as it happens in the market. So the examples won't be much relevant, right? If I say Apple phone is selling at 1 lakh today and tomorrow it is selling at 85 and next day it is selling at 1 lakh 15,000 and then next day it has dropped down to 60,000, it will be something absurd for you. Yeah, how is it possible, right? Wherein if I say Nifty today is trading at 22,000, then tomorrow it has come down to 21,500 and next day it is 22,300, it would look normal to you because that's what the prices moves for. The prices keeps on moving, right? Now, when we are buying a call option, we are paying a premium to buy the underlying, correct? When we are paying the premium, if I choose not to buy, all I lose is the premium. Yes? Guys, with me? So this is what this symmetrical and asymmetrical payoffs defines. In future, if I buy Nifty for 22,000, market goes down by 1,000 point, I lose 1,000 point. Market goes up by 1,000 point, I gain 1,000 points. If I buy a call option of 22,000, let's say for 40 rupees, market goes down by 1,000 point, I lose 40 rupees. Market goes up by 1,000 points, I make 1,000 points less 40 rupees, which I have paid for the premium. Okay. Yes, it's limited loss. So in buying option, you pay the premium. In buying futures, you pay the margin. The initial capital which is required, that is different in terms of the money which you're gonna put up to make that thing. And then there are technical differences in terms of multiple expiries. Like future comes with only once in expiry every month, whereas options nowadays we have every weekly expiry option for indexes and all. Now, how derivatives are priced? All right, so this is one interesting thing. I'm going to just give one example now. Think of it this way. Let's say these derivatives, or we're talking about futures now. Let's say futures are not priced at all, right? And then there is no mechanism of pricing it. Okay. I say Reliance is at 1,000 rupees in equity, and Reliance future is selling at 1,200 rupees. Okay. Sarthak, we don't have daily expiries. In India, we don't have daily expiries. We move to the next topic. I'm going to touch back to the questions once we reach over there. We're talking about the pricing of the things now. So one of the things I'm going to talk about futures now. Futures, the definition of future contract is it's a contract in which the buyer and seller agrees to buy and sell the product on a future date, right? On that particular future date, they both come to the same price. Why? So imagine when I'm buying equity, I'm saying that, all right, I'm going to buy 1,000 shares of Reliance. I'm going to make the payment end of the day. That's how the equity settlement is. You buy equity, you make the payment at the end of the day. You buy future, you pay only the margin money, and then on the expiry day, you do the full settlement. Okay. On the expiry day, you do the full settlement. Yes. On the last day of the expiry, the cash and the future, the equity and the future is the same thing, because equity says, I'll buy 1,000 shares, I'll make the payment end of the day. Future says, I'm doing a contract that I will settle it on the X date, and that X day is to into the settlement on the day end only, which makes them to be priced in the same fashion, because it's like it's like if I now literally torn this shirt to pieces, what will be left is only threads, right? What will be left is threads and these buttons. Okay. Or you break down the table to its core pieces, what will be left is that raw material, the wood material which is made up of, right? Or the nuts which have been used. So on the expiry day, future converges into equity. That is the underlying which it was following throughout. Okay. Now understand the pricing with this one very arbitrary example which I'm going to give. There's an equity of Reliance priced at 1,000 rupees. And then there is a future which is priced at 1,200 rupees. It's a 1 month future which is going to expire in 30 days. Can you think, or do you think it is possible, or can you think of a trade which might use to capitalize the gains if there are gains? All right. Just again. Do we have the whiteboard to use in this?
So I think if you can take a blank slide in the next one, then
I didn't get them.
we do
Sorry.
have a whiteboard option though. We do have a whiteboard option.
Or I'll just
it
open
is
up my next.
next.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Can everybody see this Excel now? All right. So let's say we are talking about Reliance stock. Reliance is priced as 20,000. For the ease of calculation, this is the price of equity. And then we are talking about this May futures. And May future of Reliance is, let's say, traded at 1,200 rupees. Okay. What I'm trying to explain you is that how these derivatives gets priced. Currently, we're discussing about futures, right? Now, the definition of future is that number one, it's a contract between two parties to buy and sell at a pre-agreed price on a future date. Let's say that future date is 28th of May. We are unable to see the D column. Okay, wait a second. Can you guys see the full Excel now? And can you say all the, can you see, chalo, good, all right, okay. So, right, we're talking about this one Reliance equity, which is priced at 1,000. There's Reliance May future, which is priced at 1,200 rupees, right? And then we're just writing down the key points of the definition of future. It is you buy or you sell the contract at a pre-agreed price on a future date. Now let's say that a pre-agreed price is 1,200 rupees. Okay. And instead of 28th May, I do its 31st end of the month. Okay. Now on 31st of May, Reliance equity will be equivalent to Reliance future. Why? Because both of them are saying the same thing. It says you buy today, you make the payment at the end of day. Reliance future says you buy today and you make the payment on the contract date, which is today only. Correct? Theoretically, if you have to understand, Reliance future will converge into Reliance equity on the expiry date. That's where it gets settled at. Okay. It is the underlying price. This is the underlying. This is where this future will get settled at. Okay. Now, if I say that the Reliance equity is priced at 1,000 and Reliance future is priced at 1,200, and I buy, let's say, 100 shares of Reliance equity, and then imagine the lot is 100 again. Sarthak is trading in the markets. He says the lot is 250. Yes, Sarthak, neither Reliance is priced at 1,000 rupees, but I'm just doing it for the ease of calculation. So 100 shares I sell at 1,200. Now, on the expiry day, let us say, on the expiry day, let us say the price of Reliance goes from 1,000 to 1,100, which means future will also come and settle at 1,100, correct? Now, if somebody buys at 1,000 and sells at 1,200 in equity, he will make a gain of 1,100 minus 100, that's 100 rupees. In future, he was short. So this is, he's 100 long, he's bought 100 and he's 100 short. He has sold 100, right? In future, he has sold at 1,200 minus 1,100. He'll make 100 rupees over here. So if we'll be making a gain of, gross gain of 200, forget the expenses. I'm trying to make you understand one concept, right? He will making 200 per share, and 200 into 100, that's, he's gonna make 20,000 rupees. Okay, he's gonna make 20,000 rupees out of this trade by putting up the initial investment of 100 into 1,000, which is buying equity, that's 1 lakh rupees, and by selling the futures, which is like you will pay only margin money. That's gonna be, let's say 10%, then 12,000 rupees on that. Okay, now if in a month somebody invests 1 lakh rupees and makes 20,000 rupees, do you think it's a good return? Do you think it's a practical return? If you make 20,000 rupees a month into 12, you will make 2,40,000 rupees on investing 1 lakh rupees. Do you think it's practical? Let's say if you're getting this kind of a return, wherein you're making 240% a year, what is the loan rate in India? Won't it make sense to sell everything, even get the houses on, and take the property on, loan against the property, and then put up money in such kind of a trade wherein you're making 240% annualized, risk free? Yes. No, you're not getting the point. So I'll just explain you again with a different concept. The thing is that the pricing of options, or futures, they have to be in the line with the bank rate or the risk-free rate. Risk-free rate is the money which you're gonna make if you put the money the FDs, right, or in the banks. Okay. Now, if you can take the money at 8%, and now when we buy cash and we sell future, it's a risk-free trade. Why? If from 1,000 rupees, let's say the stock expires 1,100, 1,200, or 700. If I was long on 1,000 and short on 1,200, yes, either case, they both are going to expire at the same price. They're going to expire either at 1,100, 1,200, 700. All the case, I'll be making the blocked money. That is, I bought it 1,000, I've sold it at 1,200. I'll make 200 rupees. I'll make any amount these 200 rupees. Yes. So it is not possible Why it is not possible? Because when this kind of market exists, what we will do, everybody would come in and buy in equity and they will sell in future, right? Now you guys have read about this demand and supply rule. What does this demand and supply rule states? So correct, if demand is greater than supply, prices will go up. And if the supply is greater than demand, then prices will move down. Yes. Now, if all the demand comes in equity and all the supply comes in future, because let's say whatever money I have, if I'm going to make 20% in a month, I'll put up that money because what better returns I'll get out of it. Yes. Every demand will come into equity and all the supply would come into future. Till that time, the pricing of this comes in line with the risk-free rate around 8% or 9% or 10% annualized. Did you get this concept? One of the way to see the pricing in the market of risk-free structure. So there are many ways. Second, sorry. So there are different models which are there to price the derivatives, right? When we're talking about the futures are essentially all the derivatives as we have understood, they are inclined and they're in line with the equities, they're the underlines, right? So their price has to be in line with them. If the price goes out of the line, then there is a way of making the risk-free profit out of it. Okay, just like we did this example, which is practically not possible, that you cannot have a Reliance future trading 200 rupees higher than not 200 rupees, beyond X percentage higher than the equity, because then everybody would buy equity and sell future. I'll try to make you guys understand with another example, right? If you want to, let's say, buy something for 1 lakh rupees today and you don't have that 1 lakh rupees, right? What you do is that you borrow that money on a loan rate. Yes. And you pay interest for that, correct? Now let's say we have understood this part, that equities require 100% of the payment, future requires only margin money. Yes. Now if you want to buy future, and for a minute, just think that everybody wants to buy, there is no seller to it. It's not possible, I know, but then just imagine for a second, just for the sake of concept, let's say there is this one instrument which everyone wants to buy. Now when everybody wants to buy, there's this one guy who says that, okay, I'm not bullish on this stock, or neither I am bullish, I don't want to make money out of the price movement, but I have this equity, I have this money to spend. Everybody wants to buy future because they don't have 100% of the money, they just got 15,000 rupees and the contract value margin is 15,000, and if you're going to go and buy an equity, you would require, let's say, 1.5 lakh rupees for doing that. Okay, he says that I'll buy an equity and I'll sell in future to this person. Okay, to you who wants to buy in futures by paying just the margin money. If you got just 10,000 rupees, you want to buy something 1 lakh rupees in market, you will borrow the money and you will pay the interest, right? In similar fashion, a person has the money to buy an equity. Okay, you don't. And imagine these two, you and that a person comes into touch with each other, and he says that, all right, I'll buy an equity and I'll sell it to you in the future. No, not the broker. Here and no, it's a different thing. I'm just trying to make it's not the the way to see it is to understand how the futures are priced in the market, right? There are people in the market who come and who pump in the money in the equity to sell the futures, to provide. These are called arbitrages, or they are called person who are making money from this basic difference between them. Ravi, I was not saying because of the margin perspective. All I'm saying was that All right, I'll try to explain again. Wait a second. So there are speculators in the market, then there are hedgers in the market, and then there are these ARB guys, right? Think of it this way: you you want to buy the underlying not because of the investment value, just because you think that the price is gonna go from, let's say, 1,000 rupees to 1,200. Okay, the price is current market price is 1,000. You think it's gonna go 1,100. Okay, if you buy it in equity, let's say 100 shares, you will spend 100 into 1,000, that is 1 lakh rupees. Okay, vis-a-vis it goes to 1,100, you will make 100 into 100, that is 10,000 rupees of it, right? So you have generated 10% return. If I do the same thing in future, I pay margin money. Yes, let's say 10%. When I pay margin money, I'll buy 1 lakh value product and I'll pay only 10% of that. That is, I'll end up spending only 10,000 rupees. I still have 100 shares. If the price goes from 1,000 to 1,100, I will again make 10,000 rupees, same as what I've made in equity. Okay. The return over here is 100%. This is the reason speculators, they do futures instead of cash, because of the more reward, greater returns, right? Now I'm trying to explain how these and hedgers on the other side, they are the guys who use for the, as we took the example of that shield guy, the warrior who's using the shield, right? Let's say he has an equity portfolio of 100 crores and he wants to hedge. His interest is not doing derivatives in form of speculation, but all he wants is that he wants to keep the equity with him, but then is uncertain about the near future. So he wants to hedge. What he will do is he will sell the future. Once he sell the future, let's say he has a stock of 300 and he sell the future at 302 or 301 whatsoever. Now the price goes to 200. This future price will come down to 201. The price moves up to 400. This future price will also go to 402, 403, something in line. It keeps on uh, it's like with 100 rupees change, it will also move with the 100 rupees, because the future is the underlying, oh sorry, future is something which is following the underlying, right? So he blocks this price movement. That's what is hedging is all about. He hedges his portfolio by selling the future. If he was long here, he will short the future and then his price range is blocked, as we did the examples of those farmers and all, right? Now then the third guys, those who are doing arbitrage, or those who are becoming supplier or the funding guys, as in real life you'll borrow the money. The funding guys, they would say ki, all right, stock is priced at 1,000 rupees and the future is priced at 104, or ease of calculation, okay, sorry, 1,000 rupees and it's priced at 104. Now this person, the person who's going to do funding, or as I said, the A guy who would supply to the speculator, he says, I have no incentive of buying at 1,000 and selling at 1,004, because I'm just making 4 rupees out of it, and that's nothing, right? I think I need at least 12% annualized to do it, right? So this is where I was coming with the example that imagine there are all the buyers, or the demand is greater than the supply right now, right? Everybody wants to buy futures because of speculation. They don't want to go long in equity, because their interest is not investment, it's just to make money out of the current price move. Okay, if the price is 104, 1004, it doesn't interest the supplier because the return is less. Let's say now the price is 1012. Now this guy, this A person, who's the guy who's gonna provide the funding, he says, let me buy equity and now sell the future. I'm gonna make 12 rupees in it. Yes. His interest is not prices going up or prices going down. His interest is just to generate good enough return, because when he will be buying equity, he will be spending 1 lakh rupees and then he will be paying the margin to sell the future, right? All he wants is that on this 1 lakh rupees, what kind of money I am making. Now, in this case, he will be making 1200 rupees. If a lot is of 100, he will be investing 1 lakh and he will be making 1200 rupees in total for a month, which is, let's say, return at 9% or 10% or 11% or 12%, which is essentially can be related to when you go out in the market and borrow money from the lender. Am I able to make any sense over here? These are three different kind of guys who comes into market. Speculators come into the market to speculate, to make extra returns. That's why they would do derivatives, because it requires lesser amount of capital. Hedgers would come to hedge their positions. And then there are those guys who are into funding or who's doing arbitrage. They would come into the market who will only buy equity because he's getting a good price to sell in future. His concern is not whether his 1,000 is going to go to 2,000 or 5,000. He's buying equity only when he's going to put in the money only when he thinks that the difference between these two is good enough to generate return of 11% or 12%. Yes? No? This who gets the margin profit. So the margin profit lies with the speculator. And the guy who's providing funding, if he sells, Ravi, is arbitrage possible? Yes, it is. Play with the price difference. Yes, he's just playing with the price difference. Now think of it this way now. Let's say there are all speculators in the market. Okay. Everybody says that I want to buy, and then there's one seller with every 10 buyers. If this is the case, the price will shoot up, right? 10, let's say 4, and then price goes to 1006, and then 1015, and all that stuff, right? This is future price, wherein equity price is 1,000 or 1,001. Get into very minute or millisecond or few minutes of the game, right? If the price in the future starts going up like this, because they're all speculators, and then there are 10 buyers and a single seller, there's hardly anyone to sell, right? On every 10 buyer, there is one seller. Okay. I'm the guy with let's say with funds with on my side. I have no incentive and I have no intention of buying this equity to hold it. But now I see that the future price is trading at 100,015, whereas equity is still at 1001. Okay. And I see, all right, let me just put up 1 lakh rupees. Let me buy 100 shares of this 1,000 price. Now, if I just do this, I have the risk. I hold the equity. If the price goes up, I'll make money. If the price goes down, I lose money. I don't want to do that. I don't want to risk the money in the markets with this intention that the market's going to go up, go down. I came into play only because in equity, the price is 1,000. In future, the price is 1,015. And I say I'll make a pure profit by selling 100 shares here. If I become the speculator and sell 100 shares, then I would want the market to go down, correct? If I'm long on equity and I'm short on futures, whether the price goes from 1,000 to 2,000 or the price comes down from 1,000 to 900, at same time, even the future will move like 1,015 or 1,014 to 2,014, or from 1,000 to 908 or 907. Why will it happen? Let's say it doesn't happen. Let's say the future comes down to 900. Oh, equity comes down to 900 and the future price is 1,100. If this happens, there's a profit of 200 rupees to be made, because on the expiry day, they both are going to expire at the same price. Are you getting my point? Guys? There are few common attributes. Future price on the expiry date. They get in line because whenever the difference between cash and future goes beyond the bank rate, goes beyond 8% and 9%, there is an incentive for some people to come buy the equity and sell the future to make that profit. Because I can, let's say I have the history and I have the capability of raising 10 crore rupees from the bank at 7% rate, okay, or 8% rate, which is essentially the rate in the market, right? If I can raise 10 crore rupees from at 8%, and I have an opportunity with wherein I am making 14%, why won't I do it? I'll take the money from the bank, I'll pay them 8%, and I'll park it at where I'm gonna get 14%. Yes. What I'm trying to explain over here is that how these future prices are linked with equity. They move around. It's like a band. If the equity price is moving in one line, future prices is always around it. It cannot deviate from anything. Essentially, why? Because this is what these derivatives are. The derivative is a price whose price is influenced and is affected by the underlying price. So we are understanding that how they are priced, and part of the game to understand that is that they cannot go much beyond the bank rate or the risk-free rate which exists in the basic economy. Yes? Should I move ahead? All right. So these are the factors which and there are other models like in an option there's a Black-Scholes form model which results in the pricing. So they're complex things, but then these are the models with which the pricing gets affected, and there are common factors for each one of them: the volatility in the market or the interest rate. Now there's a concept of futures trading higher, and then at times future also trading lower than the equity market, right? It happens at the times of dividends, because if you hold a stock at 1,000 rupees and then there is an expectation of 20 rupees dividend, effectively somebody who buys that stock for 1,000 rupees in equity is not buying at 1,000 rupees. He would effectively get it at 980 rupees, right? Because the dividend, he's going to get a 20 rupees of dividend per share. So future in that case only gets priced lower than 1,000 rupees. And there are others when, let's say, there is no buyer in the market. If everybody gets so pessimistic about the market that the markets are going to go down, and there's hardly anybody who wants to speculate on the upper side, so everybody's on the short sale side, the supply on the future is on the higher side, so the future would price again would come down to lower than equity. Not saying it's an indicator that the markets are going to go down. Don't end up making a trade that futures are trading lower, so it's going to go down and you end up making that trade. It's one of the things which is in consideration. That's what we are saying over here. Now, again, the risks which are involved in trading the derivatives or the future market. So number one is market risk, which we discussed for all the speculators, those who buy futures or sell futures just to make extra money, they generate extra returns. They also face the risk in the same fashion, because let's say the person, we did an example, the person has 1 lakh rupees, 10,000 rupees, as he's buying the instrument worth 1 lakh by paying 10% margin. If the market goes down, he will lose as well in the same capacity, as we saw that he will make the money if market goes up by 10%, right? This counterparty risk, this is now a feature of forward contracts, which we discussed. In futures, what happens is there is an exchange in between. And with exchange in between, exchange becomes the counterparty to each and every trade. So there's a transparency. It's like, you don't know me, you guys are meeting me for the first time, and then let's say we are getting into a contract wherein you have to pay me 25 lakh rupees, and I have to give you something. Okay. Since we are dealing for the first time, you will have certain hesitations, right? That should I give 25 lakh rupees? You would try to find out somebody who is a common contact, that is this person worth trusting? Should we give him 25 lakh rupees? Would he be able to give me the end product or not, and all that stuff, right? But in exchange, you open up an account today and you buy stock worth 10 lakh rupees. You don't have any that kind of apprehension or any risk. Yes. You don't think twice before putting up 10 lakh rupees and buying a stock, correct? That is because of the exchange which is in between. Exchange, National Stock Exchange in India or Bombay Stock Exchange in India, they both become the counterparty to every trade. So we do not have a counterparty risk wherein the exchange is involved, that is the future contracts or the option contracts, because counterparty risk essentially is when the other party defaults, when the other party says that we cannot make the payment or we cannot deliver you the stock. This is an attribute of forward contracts, which happens. Yeah, it can happen in forward contract. Then there's liquidity risk. Now, what is liquidity? You guys understand what liquidity is? Anyone? Continuous flow of money. Yes, convertible to cash. Correct. Ravi is right. I'll explain you. All right. Let's say you buy a property in Gurgaon. Okay, in Cyber Hub Gurgaon. Okay, you buy this one property in Gurgaon worth 2 crores. Okay, and tomorrow you want to sell it, or after a week or after a month you want to sell it, right? This is case A. And case B, let's say you have bought a land in some small village in Punjab or small town in Punjab. Uh, let's say you have bought a big land in Hoshiarpur, right? Worth 3 crore rupees. Okay. And after a week, you want to sell uh, that land in Hoshiarpur. What do you think is going to be easier for you? To sell 3 crore rupees worth property in Cyberhub, or to sell that 3 crore rupees land in Hoshiarpur? No buyers for remote area. In Gurgaon, it is going to be easy. And when we say it's easy, what do we mean by it's easy? We will have more buyers and less of the price risk to convert it into cash. So it's like in CyberHub, when I want to sell it for a 3 crore land, I want to sell it in urgency. I might have a buyer of 2 crore 95 or 292 or 290 or 285. Whereas in Hoshiarpur, the land for 3 crore rupees, I might not see a buyer worth even 2 crore or 1.5 crore rupees, because it is this is what we call as liquid and illiquid, because of the lesser number of buyers, lesser number of participants in that market in property, right? In comparison to Gurgaon. So liquidity is basically converting your positions into cash with the minimal price damage. Dekho, convert, it will be anyhow converted. If I buy a brand new iPhone 15 Pro at 1,25,000, I won't say I don't have a buyer for it now. I can sell it. Big to jayega hi. But then the question is, are you going and selling it at 1,80,000, 50,000, or 40,000 rupees? If there is a product which has no buyer to it, if I reduce down the price, let's say you don't have the intention of buying iPhone. Okay. Currently, you are not in the need of buying an iPhone right now. Okay. But I say that here's this iPhone 15 brand new, okay, boxed and not even opened yet. And I want to sell it at 40,000 rupees. Why I want to sell it? Yeah, I want to sell it. I have lot many. I don't know. I'm giving away all the luxuries and all the iPhones. So even if you are not a buyer, even if you're not a buyer, you will come and you will say, ki, okay, 40,000 is not a bad deal. Yeah, 40,000 so I will buy and I might be able to sell it at 60, 70,000 rupees, right? So the concept of converting to cash is incomplete till the time we see how much money we are losing in that process, right? Cash में तो convert हो ही जाएगा. The question is, a market is said to be liquid if without losing much of the value or losing limited amount of money, we convert that product into cash. So in Gurgaon, we'll be losing probably 8 lakh rupees or 5 lakh rupees and converting the property into cash again. Whereas in Hoshiarpur or some other small town or a village maybe, we might not find a buyer even if we sell it 50 lakh rupees lower, because Nobody would be interested in buying a farmland till the time he is actually work or anything to do over there. Correct. If there is a demand, yes. So by Hoshiarpur, all I wanted to convey and say is that the participants or number of buyers and sellers already available in that product. So all I want to establish was that Gurgaon is more liquid than Hoshiarpur. That's why I picked up Gurgaon Cyber Hub. It's a liquid market. It's not something jahan par you have an office and then there is no buyer to it. Every day there's so many offices over there, so many people looking for these spaces over there. Is it related to demand supply? Yes. Demand and supply comes from whom? It comes from the participants, right? The more number of participants, the more amount of demand and supply might be created for them at different points, right? So liquidity by definition is that how much money you will lose in terms of liquidating that instrument or converting that instrument into cash. So someone in the chat message that liquidity is converting into cash. That is correct. But with a comma, put up and how much damage you're gonna do or how much money you're gonna lose in the process of doing that. So cash में तो convert ऐसा हो ही जाएगा. Like I gave an example of this iPhone, right? Selling at 40,000 rupees, बिक तो जाएगा ही. But then I would have lost 1 lakh rupees if I bought it at 1,50,000 rupees. Correct? So I would say iPhone is more liquid if I am able to sell 1,50,000 phone at 140 or 135 or 145, right? Okay. So this liquidity risk now it exists in derivatives. Yes, there are instruments wherein, like for an example, in India, if you go with the longer date expiries, right? Do you see lot much difference between buying and selling prices? Okay, or you go to in money option. I don't want to touch in money option, but then there are instruments wherein the buyer and seller are the difference between them is huge. We face slippages. Sarthak, again, very technical term for general audience. It's again trading thing, but it is different. Liquidity is not slippages. I'll explain you. Liquidity is also true like upper circuit or lower circuit in stock market. No, no, Aaron. I'll come to it later on. Now, the benefits which are involved in derivatives, right? So we understood hedging for one. That is the main thing with which derivatives were launched with, right? Later on, it's like again going back to that warrior. The warrior started using the shield to protect, but then he realized I can attack with it as well, right? कि मैं उसे मार भी सकता हूँ यार. So that's where the speculation comes into play. Right, so hedging is that's the main benefit which we get from derivatives for all the investors who have money invested in equities. If they feel uncomfortable or they want to protect themselves, they don't know what's going to happen with these elections now, right? Whether the market is going to go up or go down, and then you don't want to risk on that part. You can get into the markets, you can sell the futures, you can protect your capital, you can protect your investments in equities by straight away selling the futures, right? So hedging is that when you protect yourself. Speculation is derivatives can be used for speculation because now you have understood that we just make the margin, we have to deposit the margin money, and then in the price movement terms, we get the same benefits. That's what the speculation is for, right? So it amplifies your returns because it revolves only margin money. And then you tend to bet on the direction. Another advantage or another feature to understand of speculation, so you cannot sell a share till the time you hold it, right? In equity, you cannot sell something which you don't have. But in futures, you can do that. Since the delivery of that product is gonna be after a month or after 15 days or after the date which you guys have decided, you can sell it and you can play the movement. If the price goes down, you can benefit from that as well. So speculators came into play and they have different advantages of trading in futures. Third is future. The derivatives are used for portfolio diversification as well. Now, think of a product which otherwise does not exist in terms of delivery. It's like uh, Nifty index futures. You don't index futures are basically a number. Yes, Ravi, later on we'll come to this. Once we're gonna open questions, I'm gonna soon open that. So we'll discuss all these things. Portfolio diversification, what we are trying to understand and make a point over here with derivatives is that you can take the exposure or offset the exposure from the instrument which does not actually exist in terms of real. Like if you buy Reliance, you'll get shares of Reliance. You don't get Nifty shares. Nifty is nothing. It's an index. It's an index number. What is an index number? Index number is one number which represents the values of collectively many numbers together, right? That's what an index number is. Yes, it's different from the index which we get on a book. That's an index page which shows which page represents get which chapter and all that stuff. Yes, Nifty futures is made up of 50 stocks. Now, if you want to hedge those 50 stocks, you don't have to sell all the stocks individually. You can straightaway hedge by selling a Nifty future. So we're telling the benefits and the advantages of derivatives over here, right? So portfolio diversification or taking the position in the indexes or the instrument which are not directly accessible is one thing which is the benefit of index. Certain real world applications now, derivatives again. So take this. Starbucks is one of the biggest coffee supplier in terms of giving the end coffee products, right? Now to make that much amount of coffee, they must be investing and buying coffee a lot. Yes. Now let's say their coffee is priced at $4, 400 rupees, right? And they priced it in such a way that they're benefiting XYZ% of margin they're making on every coffee, right? What if the price of the coffee moves a lot? They are buying like tons and tons of coffee to make this end product of coffee and sell it to us, right? If the price of that coffee moves a lot, they cannot change the price. You cannot, if you go to Starbucks today, you're getting a coffee of 400, and tomorrow they say the coffee price have gone up. We're gonna sell it at 500 rupees. And next day they say that the coffee's price gone up now, gone down. We're gonna sell it at 150 rupees now. That's not gonna work. That's now how it works in the real life, right? You get a same price, maybe after a year, once in 6 months, 7 months, they change the price. They see, because of whatsoever business reasons they have. But then they address this derivative by using derivatives. They address this price fluctuation of the underlying. Or take example of another, let's say this IT company, Infosys, have the exposure to currency, right? They are providing their services to UK, US, European countries, right? And then they're getting it made in India. Let's say they have projected the profitability at 1 crore rupees. But now they cannot leave this 1 crore rupees and convert that into dollars at that price. Because if the dollar and rupee relation changes, the price changes, they might end up making not 1 crore rupees, they might end up making only 80 lakh rupees of the profit on that order because of the currency has moved. Another example, these jewelers, right? Now they buy gold, they make ornaments. Part of the margin money, part of the money they make is on the conversion of into ornaments, right? But if the gold price moves a lot and they do not have they're not hedged it, then imagine some jewelers sold the gold ornament at the price when the gold was 10,000 rupees. Now it is priced much higher. I don't know exact price of the gold, but then now it's priced much higher. So he won't be able to justify his selling cost if he has not hedged against the gold price, 71,000. Sarthak is very much following all the markets. So you got the point. Somebody, if some jeweler has sold a product or an ornament, a jewelry, by pricing it at the rate of 20,000 when the gold was 20,000 rupees, right? And then now the price is 71,000 rupees, and he hasn't addressed this. Uh, let's say it was a masterpiece, yaar, koi Maharaja Uruja ka, which took 10-15 years. So if the price have moved in 10-15 years by this much, and he has not hedged his currency or his, the commodity, then he'll be in humongous amount of loss. Cannot imagine. Other than that, now derivatives are used among many of the hedge funds, many of the arbitrage offices. Like we are involved in arbitrage, we are involved in these market making and algo trading strategies. So all of our portfolio consists of derivatives, right? We do use derivatives to manage the risk. We do use these derivatives to make money out of market discrepancies. Inefficiencies. We use these derivatives to play derivative strategies and all that stuff. So in similar fashion, derivatives, something which originally came as a hedging instrument, got into speculation, and then around that there came many ways of doing that, many ways of managing the risk, and trading using those. So bottom line, the derivatives play an important role in financial markets. Imagine there were no derivatives. The best way to see and understand it is you just remove it from the play. If there are no derivatives, you just got equity, right? Number one, you'll have to put up full amount of money to buy any equity. Number two, if you want to protect yourself, if you want to hedge your equity portfolio, there is no way of doing it because there is no derivative which exists, right? So that itself tells you that how important these derivatives became. Now there are further advantages of derivatives which being used on the risk management part. Or again, as I said, we took the example of these Starbucks and Infosys and these jewelers. If they don't have any derivatives, they cannot protect their risk. If the farmer doesn't have a derivative contract, forward contract to make, he cannot protect himself from the price risk. So basically, the price risk is something which you do not get to cover if you remove the derivatives from the system. Along with that, it has created a business model, many opportunities for many different players in a different fashion. That's the second plus. As I said, the topics which we covered are huge. It is impossible to forget 2 hours, even if I take 20 full days. Even then, I won't be able to explain each and everything in the kind of depth which it should be, right? Because there are many things which you get to know by experiencing and seeing in the market. So understanding the theory is one, conceptual part is one, that can be done very much within 20-25 days, definitely not in 2 hours. But then yes, even beyond this, what we have covered, I know we have covered very basic level, and starting it was a bit rough. But you want to me to touch any concept again, or you want to ask anything other than this, please feel free. And then yes, we have got next 30-40 minutes to do that now. Sorry, how much time we are left with?
We are left with 20 more minutes.
We're left with 20 more
But
minutes.
we can extend if you would like to continue.
I'll be happy, more than happy to answer everybody's question. And can we have this mic on for everybody who wants to ask the question, or is it like they will be asking via chat only?
They can ask. See, we are preferring sir via chat because if a lot of people are asking questions at a time, so it might get a very kind of a huge traffic with this thing, and
I
the
understand,
voice
but
break
then
might start.
I get it.
But we can.
Do
If
we have the
you want,
provision of
yes,
switching
we
on the
can, we
mic
can.
one by one of a person so that they can ask?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
So that will be better for me. I mean, if you can do that way.
Definitely. If one of the participants want to ask a question by video, they can raise your hand, and I'll give them rights to talk.
Done. I'm not able to hear. Is there anybody asking something?
No, nobody has raised their hands so far, sir.
Nobody has raised their hands. All right.
Yeah, one. I have a one hand. Let me allow.
Yes.
Abhishek, sir, you can start asking your question.
Good afternoon, sir. So my voice is audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
So my question to Anubhav.
I'm not able to hear anything. Should I just answer the questions which have been asked on the chat?
No, sir. Abhishek sir is asking a question. Can you hear him?
No, Abhishek, please go ahead.
Sir, good afternoon. So my question is regarding with the open interest and what is the significance of Greeks, as I have seen, but I don't know what is the usefulness of that.
I'm not able to hear. I'm just starting with answering what I have.
So let me transfer the question to you. He's asking that what is the significance of Greeks?
Yes, okay, that I can see on the chat as well.
Yes,
Greeks are very important. They are in fact the main integral part of options. Now, what we have discussed about options is the very basic level definition of the concept, how it makes them different from futures. But otherwise, when we are doing the pricing or when we are trading in options, you cannot do it without Greeks, right? Now, the significance of Greeks is that when you are trading options, it is not only the price movement which you are trading many other things as well. But then, as I said, the time is too short, and this topic is it's a bit complex to answer from the point where we are right now. I mean, before we could touch Greeks, I would in fact rather give you the information regarding the pricing of the option, the time value, and the intrinsic value, and then the many other things which have to be covered before we can touch Greeks. It's like currently today we have just seen, if I can put it this way, we have just seen the alphabets, right? And you the question about Greeks would be equivalent to asking about the paragraph. So before paragraphs, we have to understand making the words, then sentences, and then we get to the paragraphs. Let me put it this way. Yeah. Some important questions for exam. What exams we are talking over here? Is it the NSM exam?
Call by call.
Shraddha has asked some important questions for exam. What exams we are talking over here, Shraddha? I'm not getting the answer. Sarthak, you have written advance. I don't understand. I'm sorry. What advance?
Sir, I already put the question in the chat. Sir, I already put the question in the chat.
I think she's asking important questions for the final exams. I'm
I
sorry, I
think,
have
sir,
no
there,
clue
yes,
about
sir.
the
I
final
think
exam.
there is some confusion with Shraddha. Sir is taking a master class on derivative trading, not relevant with the Anthem exams. We can skip this question, sir.
Okay, this my first semester, so I need to know about patterns of questions coming. I'm sorry, Shraddha,
Shraddha, wrong
not the
platform.
right person. Yes, not the right person to answer this. And then we have uh, is candlestick pattern can have some significance in options trading. Well, um, charting candlesticks or line charts or any other charts is the way of presenting data, right? It's like I tell you the way to reach from A point to B point by just merely telling you that you go straight and take a right and left, and then I show you in a map or a graph, right? So that's what the chart does. Now, the patterns are like the behaviors which you have seen in the past happening, and then you expect it to happen in the same fashion. By the way, any of the candlestick chart or any these chart patterns doesn't hold the significance or doesn't have the probability of more than 53 54%, not even once, right? It's like I'm going to Punjab and I make a u-turn from Karnal, and I again do it second time, and third time I again do it, and then fourth time you say that this guy is going to turn back from Karnal. Might happen, might not happen, right? So for that matter, whether the pattern makes sense on any kind of trading or not is something which is questionable. But whatever it does on any other series, it will do the same to options. Yes. Can you give some quick tips on swing trading, like how to find out the stocks which act better, what fitter? Rather than tip, Yashraj, the advice I'll give you is that do not look for the shortcuts for any kind. If you want to study the subject, then I believe give good time. If you want to do something, let's say trading, you want to do for life, I believe giving 5 years to study the subject is not bad at all if you want to spend whole life in this. Why every trading firm bombs about 1% makes money out of 10? If we can learn hedging, chances of making profit is more. I didn't get this question properly. Why every trading platform warns only? Oh, every trading platform warns that there only 1% would make money out of 10. If we can learn hedging, the chances of making profit is more. And the person who understands the subject and learns, then he gets into that one category. Maybe the platforms are, I'm not an authority to comment on the platforms, but then maybe the platforms are warning that the percentage of people making money is less because 90% of the people want to make money without doing anything. They just want to make the shortcuts. Give me the second. I'm struggling a bit with the chat. Let me just get to the question parts. Ravi, we have understood settlement of stock options. I want to ask how options on index settlement on maturity expiry. What I get apart from premium if I execute this contract? So on the expiry day, what you will get is only the intrinsic value. Now, if you have, I believe you are already exposed to the market terminologies and you understand, then the settlement in the index and the stock in India works the same way. On the expiry date, it's just the intrinsic value which you get. If you let the contract expire. According to you, future is good or the options? With proper knowledge, options as an instrument are far better than futures. This is what I believe, but then this is what I believe, and as I do. Not saying that futures are not good at all, but then further it depends to what exactly you want to do, right? So if you want to trade in the markets, then for especially if you're going to do overnight, futures are much more risky because you have no control over certain things, and you might have a stop loss of, let's say, 2%, but then if the market gaps down by 10%, you cannot obey to that stop loss, right? So in that case, options are better than futures, especially if you're long on options to buy a particular thing. But then again, without knowledge, options are very bad. They're very risky. For F&O trading, any books you would recommend? For options, there is one platform. I'll just Google this thing, Option Industry Council. Google this Option Industry Council. This is one of the best platform I could find during my learning days. But anyhow, we have this academy. I'm not promoting it anyhow. That's why I never said it before. You can choose to get into Option Industry Council, but in case you're still not able to understand from what's written and you want to, because so the only difference between the books and you go somewhere to learn from, not from us, from anybody, is the practical experience which you're gonna bring in along, right? Is so let me put it this way. You read the same book after every 6 months, you will learn something new, not because the content of the book changes, but your perception and your thought structure changes, right? Your learning curve has improved. So when you go to somebody to learn from, he will teach or she will teach that particular subject along with the experience which he has, or along with the exposure which he has created. That's why we came into this education business at first place, not just to make it as an profitable unit, but to, I mean, there are many people who are educating about the product without themselves being a command, or without themselves have done uh, good in trading and all. There are many cases. I'm just saying there are such kind of things. So you got to be cautious in what kind of academic platform you're choosing. But then yes, to start with, Option Industry Council is one of the best you can find. There are others like CBOE has good content. There are many websites now which tells about options. And for trading, for charts, I personally like this one book a lot. This is more on market psychology than market trading, but then this is a very good one. One should read it. And then there are many books on technical indicators. So can we suggest any books which can provide good info regarding derivatives market? So derivatives, you want to do options or you want to learn about futures? Futures is pretty much simple. For options, I've already mentioned. Ravi. Is it possible for us to open brokerage firm like Zerodha Grow? If yes, then how? Yes, anybody can open up a broking. You need basic investments. You can go to NSE website and see that what kind of investments are required for the brokerage, and then further the tech part is something which you have to solve on your own. You have to have the team to solve the tech part. if it's possible for you to give the tips on swing trading, sorry if we don't do that. I think swing trading is not a shortcut. No, swing trading is not a shortcut. Asking some tips or asking somebody to what to do on swing trading, that shortcut I was referring to. Any way of trading is not a shortcut. It's just all I wanted to make a point that you should know about the thing which you're doing in and out. Any other class on algo trading? Ravi, we are running these job bag programs. You can have a look on our website and see. So those programs are job bag. It won't help you in a personal trading that fun. It's a program which is launched only with the jobs. Most importantly, if we search on Google, we will not get the answer. Okay, Shubham has asked. Most importantly, if we search on Google, we will not get the answer that why Starbucks is not in those areas. Low income. Most of the companies have their own manufacturing and distribution, and they have strategy to earn profits. A small business is concerned. To earn profit, but a small business is very. Steady to earn profit from reduce loss. A small business is concerned about possibly long journey to Shubham, I'm not able to understand your question. I'm sorry. You can take up the mic and then straight away ask.
Shubham, if you can raise your hand, I will be able to
Which
unmute.
website should I reach for algo trading? Ravi, algo trading in general is a very vast field. What exactly you want to do in that is there. So to start with algo trading, I think you need to learn the programming language. So for that, Python is the most one of the most used programming language for doing algorithmic trading, for at least making these strategies, not for the execution. And then I said it's a vast field. It's not something which can be explained in a one-liner. But then, as far as websites are concerned, I guess I recently saw some YouTube video as well. Yes, then you can use the API of any of the platform and start building your own strategies if you already know Python. You need programming knowledge to program your strategies, and you need market knowledge to conceive and to build these strategies. That's what you need. You club them both, and then you are bang on the algo trading. To tackle the premium, which is highly volatile. What strategies do you prefer when trading options and future derivatives? There are many strategies and options which we do. It depends on different market scenarios. If we are going on the directions, we do majorly spreads, but then you should be thorough with all the strategies and options. So you can do bull spreads, any and every strategy which is on the book, we do all different market scenarios, different strategies we do. And if I know how to tackle premium, which is highly volatile. We're talking about options premium over here, or we're talking about futures being priced at higher price than the equity? Yes, Raj? Options. So for high premium is good if you are selling or if you're getting into strategy, but otherwise read about strategies like butterflies and spreads, or wherein you can mix more than one option to address the premiums or address the implied volatility. But then guys, honestly, I'm not sure about uh, how much exposure of markets you guys have. So I cannot straight away answer in the, although with all the right intention, if I even if I want to do, it's like You cannot have a class of 2nd, 5th, 9th, 11th, 12th students together and then answer them all at one platform. You getting my point? Now, I don't know who belongs to which class right now. Okay. So if I have bands of each one of you, that okay, Yashraj, let's say Abhishek and Yashraj are already in the markets and they want to learn this thing, I can direct them in that direction. Because when I'm being asked these questions, I don't know your background, I don't know how much you know already. So for me, the general thing would be that if you're trading options, then read a lot about them. You should study a lot about options. Merely what people Majorly what people know about option is call, buy, put, sell. Very wrong approach. Till the time you know Greeks thoroughly, don't touch options. Sarthak. Ashwini Kumar, like ATM, OTM. What do you mean by like ATM, OTM? I know ATM, OTM is add the money out of the money, but then what to do about add money out of money? So it is, these are the NSM is it's an entry point. It's not something with which you can get the mastery. For at money, in money options, yes, these are the terms of options trading. You should know what at money option are, in money options are, but then that's just the surface. Thank you, Abhishek. I'm glad you liked it. Ashwini Kumar, strategy spread butterfly. Ashwini, you are asking me a question as if I ask, I go to a doctor and I say lungs, heart, stomach, eyes. What to do about these things? NSM is not helpful for trading. No, no, not at all. It will give you just the introduction part. It will just give you, it just touches the surface. NSM is, but it's not, no. Money profit is, so my question is, how can we trade with a small brain? The small brain. How can we sell? How can we calculate my risk? How can we know what is the future return is reliable? Let's say a smaller money to buy any property or small business set of a competition have better open to invest in the market. How can you tackle them with the right knowledge? Your suggestion is very important. No, first of all, having a little knowledge is not something which you have to stay with. You can always acquire the knowledge, and once you have the knowledge and the skills, then you can join hands with somebody who has the resources. So it's not difficult. It just, you have to have the commitment, you have to give the time, Shubham. So having little knowledge, so you, in your question itself is the solution. First of all, move from little knowledge to high level of knowledge. Once you have higher level of knowledge, get associated with the firm, do a job, create the resources. There is no again running away from these things. You have to walk through these things.
I think, Anubhav sir, you have already answered a lot of questions, and your session was quite intuitive and interactive also. Because so many questions you have handled during the session, and still we have got a lot of questions because all, yeah, I know that you also have said that it's a comprehensive topic. and
It
it is not
it is
possible.
honestly, if I say that the way I have done, I would rate myself 3 out of 10 today, because I underestimate the kind of complexity which it will involve in terms of addressing, number one, online, and number two, wherein I don't know my audience fully, that to what subject class they're coming from.
Correctly,
But then,
correctly, sir. So that's a dilemma for you also, that you don't know that what is the background. Every person, like we have somewhere around 61 people in this session so far, and everybody has different exposure. If I talk about myself, I have heard some terms which you have used in your presentations today. But
right,
there are then there you have used some technical terms, you have explained them. So I got excited with whatever knowledge you have transferred to us. But after that, if I would like to ask a question from my side also, that what would be a roadmap you would suggest to all of us, that after your workshop,
right,
what are the further steps we should do to gain more gain more knowledge, because you know that there are a lot of resources available on the internet also, and
right,
I hope you will agree that there are more irrelevant knowledges also available.
correct.
So how to gain a relevant knowledge, and what could be the roadmap after your workshops?
So, sir, I would honestly, to answer this question, I would say the end purpose for everybody is different, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
we should start from there. So, somebody who wants to acquire only knowledge, right? And
Mhm.
vis a somebody who wants to make a career or do a job in this sector. So, for both of them, the path would be different, right? Somebody who
Correct.
wants to acquire only the knowledge, he can rely on books or go to websites, get the theoretical understanding, probably open up an account with these discount brokers, not to trade, but just to see things in action. That will help a lot. It's just like me explaining Great Wall of China and me taking the student to China and showing Great Wall of China and then explaining Great Wall of China, right?
Correct,
So
sir.
if you have books and if market in front of you, even if you're not trading, your understanding level will improve a lot, right? But then if you want to do a job, if you want to do uh, make a career out of it,
Yes, sir.
we are offering, I don't want to again say this again, that we are offering this platform, but then yes, our intention is to provide the programs only if the person is looking for a job. That's what we are doing right now.
Yes.
So that is one. I don't know about others, if there are coming with the job sessions or with the, sorry, with the job back programs. But then if there are and you can find them, then go ahead, join them.
Correct. So you have suggested two pathways for the
If
students. If they want to gain some knowledge, they can, open their accounts, and they can straight away see, at least see, not trade, at
not
least see
trade,
the market.
not
Yeah.
trade, do not
Yeah.
trade, do not trade.
Yes.
Trading, if they're gonna do trading, join probably a firm, do a job.
Correct. Correct.
If they're gonna, the only reason to open up an account is just to see things happening live in
How
action. You
things
should
works.
not be
Yes.
trading. Yes, yes. It's like driving without knowing how to drive a car, because
Correct, sir.
over there you will literally, if you meet with an accident, it would be health injury. Over here it will be money injury.
Correct. So fatal injuries are there.
Correct, correct.
So I guess we are done with most of the questions, sir. One more question we have got, sir, is
Is the YouTube videos relevant? Getting knowledge. Um,
they're the same questions,
I
sir. There are so many irrelevant knowledge is also
Yes,
available by
yes.
internet.
I would put it this way: there might be few. I won't say that neither I'm an authority to say such a thing, but then I have seen many which are irrelevant. I have seen many which are wrong, and in fact, not only by me. I think there was certain reports as well wherein people who are teaching about trading on the YouTube, they end up showing up. In fact, I recently saw some of the institute in somewhere in India only. They have their trading losses in the books, and then they sell courses very heavily.
Correct.
So,
Even
so
SEBI has
I
acted upon.
yes, yes. So I would recommend that you see YouTube, but go to YouTube with after you have read, so that you can at least distinguish between that person is saying right or wrong. It should not be the prime source to learn things. Let me put it this way.
True. So I think the students have to first of all read about it, read and read and read a lot, and then try
Study,
it. Yeah.
yes. As I said, there are sources you find. I mean, you Google them relevant to the topics which you want to inquire. go through 10 of them and then try to make sense. You yourself get to the point wherein you will have the better understanding.
I guess that's it, sir. We can wind up our session. I would like to thank you especially because you have, infused a kind of energy and interest to the people who are also not trading. I would say that I was able to see many questions which are very basic. That means those people are very new to the trading thing, and then
I
you have
understand.
created that interest to them. We have people who are already trading in different segments. Also, they were asking you so many, questions which are very technical, very relevant, and you have
Right.
guided them a variety of audience, and you have tackled them very well. So this shows your teaching way also, how you have taught these things and you are interacting throughout your sessions. So, it was amazing to experience these things.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I would also like to thank all the participants for actively participating in this session. By though there was a limitation that you were not able to audio chat with the teacher, but still you have participated in chat and you have put forward your questions very actively. So I would also like to thank all the participants. I would like to thank Ajay sir and the Center of Distance and Online Education for Lovely Professional University for letting us organize this session for all of our learners. Thank you everyone to join. Thank you the support team for supporting this session also. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, for giving the time and attending this. Thank you.